ones that are sterile, and the mules are the ones that are sterile. Okay? So this is, a mule is kind of animal, from what I've been reading and hearing, is what they used a lot, or mostly when they're coming up that riding trail. And they would lead them. Sometimes they'd have more than one. Sometimes they would lead them. Sometimes they would drive them ahead of them. And this is one of the styles of saddles that they would have used back then. This one's called a sawbuck. That's what I'm showing you today. The other kind is decker. The other kind is a decker, and it just has hoops over the top of it. They're usually some kind of a metal hoop. And in the pictures that I saw here today, of the Spanish riding style, they're using more of an old decker type style saddle than this, but they also would have used this kind. So, and this is some of the other equipment. It's all very important. As you can see, what we call a tarp, or they call it a mani or a manty, and it's used for many different purposes, as you can imagine. One of them is covering the load, tying in the load. When we're done, you'll see that. These are panniers. And of course, there's like a big soft box, and that would be for whatever belongings they had, whatever they bring along back then. Life was really simple, and they would carry a whole family's belongings and everything here. And then we have some top loads of ropes in that, so we'll show you how it goes together. Does anybody have any questions at this point? So some of the, I'm here with the Red Shank Riders. We're a portion of the Backcountry Horsemen, and some of what we do is we help maintain the trail system, the different trail systems that are around, and so we actively I use her 2 or 3 times a month. I'm going back onto the mountain twice next week, and I'll be packing just like this. I'll have tools and water and food and that for the different crews that are packing back up and doing the same thing. So as you can see, these panniers are designed to hang over top of these, over the sawbucks. And a lot of times you'll see people just like this, and that's the most that they have. But sometimes you got too much, and so the lighter stuff we would pack up on top in between. We always want to be able to see our sawbucks or our bars. Oh, does anybody know why they call this a sawbuck? Does anybody make a guess? Kind of looks like a sawhorse, yeah. So back in the day when they used to cut a lot of firewood, if you've seen in the movies and that kind of thing, they have those big crosses set up like this, and they would set the logs over the top of them, and they would use a saw to buck that. Okay, so this kind of looks like that, doesn't it? That's why it's called a sawbuck. So with these, it's very, very important to make the load even for the horse. You don't want to have a whole bunch of weight on one side and not as much on the other. So it's very, very important to balance them out as much as possible to make it as easy as possible can for the animal to carry it. You want the heavier stuff down low and the lighter stuff up top. Then, if we're going up mountains and different trails and stuff like this, it's obviously not gonna stay there. It's gonna fall off. So here's where our manny or matchy would come into play. So we could use this for a tent, a raincoat, a blanket, all kinds of different stuff. All kinds of different things, but here's one of our main purposes for it, is to cover our boat. I'm a little past the bottom on my side. And a little more forward. Then we're going to tuck the front and the back. We're going to tuck the front and the back in so that we can still see our sawbuck. We want to make sure when I'm looking back at the animal, I want to make sure that's going to stay centered on the horse. So I need to be able to see that. That's why we place our center load in there like that. Now with the rest of this, we're going to tuck whatever the remainder is, kind of nice and neat if we can, in behind. So we're just nice and tight and covered. Then And so the hitch that I primarily use, there's different kinds of hitches. So the hitch that I primarily use, and I use it for everything, is what we call the box hitch. And I'll kind of explain that as we're going. The box is on the outside. Another hitch that a lot of you probably heard about is the diamond hitch, right? Okay. So a diamond hitch, I don't use that very much, and unless I really practice it, I don't know how to tie it. But it's a beautiful hitch to see in parade, the diamond, the double diamond, that kind of thing. You can see the rope tied the diamond and stuff. So that's another kind. And then the hitch that you see in the picture that you guys have here is that basket hitch. So it's always nice to have a partner with this. You start with the rope going over the top. And the last cinch coming in, we want the hook back just in case, so it has a less likelihood of hooking any branches or trees or grasses or anything along the way. Set that over the top. Then we're going to snug that down real tight. Right across the top. We take the rope over on his side. Take it over. Turn it around. That's good. You're good there, turn Sadie around. Facing the crowd. So with this, because I have top load like this, I got a rope going over the top. You can bring your rope around the front. And so this part is where I'm going to make my loop. I'm going to go completely around the boxes. So I've made a loop like this with my box. Completely around the boxes. And try. Get to the top, bottom. You start to see how this is coming together. Snug this in real tight.